Hello everyone, my name is Roya, and today I'm coming to you with the books that I read in the first half of November. So I actually have 9 books here to talk about, so I'm going to make some of their descriptions pretty short. So here we have The Bone Dolls Twin. This I have been currently reading for a hot minute and finally just decided to sit down and read the rest of this book so I could get it over with. So this is about a boy who is actually, he was born a girl and doesn't know that he was. Basically, he was turned into his dead twin brother who was dead at birth in order to protect him because he's like, if he were known to be a girl, he would be next in line for the throne or whatever, and but because he's a boy, he's not, or they think he's not. So it's definitely very weird. I felt like the political intrigue in this book was fairly weak, and so I wasn't really a fan of this book overall. And I don't really understand, where it's trying to go with making him a boy and whatnot when he was born a girl. If if there's a point there, because it feels like, to me, I mean, gender is just a totally made up, like, whatever type of thing. So if he doesn't know that he's a girl and then he finds out that he's a girl, because at the end of the book he does basically find out that he is a girl, but it's like, isn't he a boy at that point? Even if he does end up changing back to a girl, like, does he identify as a boy now? I just don't really know. So I do kind of want to read the rest of this series, or continue with this series anyway, and see kind of where it goes. Because also the being really boring and the political intrigue being really so-so for most of this book did kind of make me think about one of what was ultimately one of my favorite Juliette Marillier series, where the first book was actually her most boring book in my opinion, and it was just so not that good. But then I read the second and third books and they were some of my best, some of my favorite books she's ever written. So I feel like this might be similar, in that maybe the first book was really just kind of setting the stage for the rest of it. So I would definitely be interested in reading the rest of this series and seeing kind of where it goes. So if you have read further than the first book in this series, please let me know if it gets better from there, if it's worth the read. First Night by Elizabeth Chadwick. This is a Lancelot and Guinevere story. It's really good, but it was really short. So obviously a lot of character depth is not necessarily there, but I did think it was a very clever take on, like Guinevere and Lancelot start off being kind of an enemies to lovers, or like, they don't really like each other at first, or at least she like hates his guts at first. And she does marry King Arthur thinking that she will love him at least enough. Like, she does think that there is something there. But obviously, this is a good commentary on, like, a man marries a woman for purposes other than love, and then Pikachu faces when she does not love him the way that she loves somebody else. And so ultimately I thought that this could have been better, but it was a really quick read. I literally read it in one day. The Sword of Kaigen. So this was really good, but also a little bit disappointing, and I will explain. So ML Wong does a really good job of writing really strong female characters, and I mean really, like, not just being a badass, but also like being really complex and really strong-willed and just really awesome people. So the main character of this book was very much like her other book, where she's a really, really amazing woman to be following her story and all of that. But there was definitely, I feel like this book should have been a series rather than one book or something, because there's a lot of stuff that we only get in flashback that was really significant. There's a lot of stuff that happened prior to the story starting that we do not have the background of. And then also this world does have, it's kind of feudal Japan-ish, but it also actually has stuff like television and whatnot. And so that's not really explained because, for instance, there's no like email. So they still get a letter that was like, this is a very urgent letter. Hopefully it gets to you this time. But they have like the news on TV and stuff like that. And so I'm kind of confused as to what the technology is in this. I feel like this basically, because this is a thick book. And for a thick book, to not actually have the depth to the world in it was a bit disappointing. So I thought that the characters were good, the main character especially. I thought that the character dynamic was good. I thought that this was a pretty good commentary on don't just trust what you hear. Basically, the news where you are might be telling you the wrong thing, that type of thing. But I really felt like this book could have been a lot more polished in as far as the just world building, the setting overall. But overall, I did really enjoy reading this, and there were definitely parts where I could not put it down. Strange Practice. This is basically about a Helsing descendant who is a doctor for the undead. And so this is really interesting. The writing is really good. The dialogue is really good as well. The characters have a lot of personality that comes through in witty banter and all of that, and I love stuff like that. But I feel like overall the plot and the pacing were this book's weak point. I think that the plot was just not that high stakes, and the way that we're really only introduced to the main plot of the book like halfway through the book and all of that, it just didn't really work. So overall, I thought that this was a good book, but I don't think it completely worked for me. The Nameless Land by Kate Elliott. This is the second book. This is the sequel to The Witch Roads, and this is really good. Basically, this is about a lot of things. It's hard to explain, but mostly it is about our main character who is in love with a dude who has no corporeal form. He can only interact with her by possessing other people. So basically any interactions she has with him are he's gone into someone else's body for only a limited time type of thing. So it is just so interesting to think about, and she's attracted to him no matter whose body he's in, when she is not otherwise attracted to those people, when it's themselves. So anyway, definitely a really interesting concept. It just does a really good job of being high stakes and just really good, and I really enjoy the series. One for All. This is about a musketeer's daughter who has POTS. So basically she gets dizzy at random times. She's supposed to be trying to like get married to some unsuspecting man who does not know that she has this and all of that, because she might be ruining her chances to like have a good marriage or whatever by not doing that. But she actually wants to do what her father did by, fighting and doing good things and all of that. And so she goes to this finishing school that is really a kind of training, fighting training, sword training place disguised as a finishing school. So anyway, so this was really good. I really enjoyed it. Rise of the Red Hand. This is kind of a South Asian inspired futuristic dystopian in which our main characters are part of the Red Hand, which is kind of a resistance group sort of. And basically a lot of stuff goes on in this book. I found it a little bit hard to keep track sometimes of what the main plot really is, but I definitely did think it was good. I just thought that we do follow 3 point of view characters who have to do 3 completely different things. There were things that were a little bit hard to juggle as far as what do each of them necessarily know about what's going on, have each of them found out this and that and whatnot, but ultimately it was a good book and I enjoyed it. The Nature of Witches. This is basically, it's set in like modern day, only there are witches that control different seasons. And our main character is an Everwitch, which basically means that she has the powers of all seasons and she can do whatever she wants in whatever season. So for instance, so if there's a flood, you know, in the middle of summer, she can like freeze the water and keep it from flooding. Whereas even a winter witch could not do that because their powers are not as strong in summer, for example. So basically, she does not want this magic because she feels like it targets the people that she cares about the most, and she has inadvertently killed several of the people who mean the most to her, like her parents and her girlfriend. And basically, she falls in love with this guy, and she does not want him to die as well, just like everybody else. So she hatches a plan to secretly get rid of her magic, because if she goes in the path of totality of a solar eclipse, she can do that, but that's highly illegal. And then she has to kind of make the decision of, is that really the right thing to do? Just getting rid of your magic because you don't want the responsibility? Or is there a way to actually figure it out? And so this was a really simplistic book. There was virtually no world building other than it is modern day. They have things like phones or whatever, but there's really no world building practically. So this was a good book. It made a good point, I guess, but ultimately I didn't really like love it or anything. There wasn't anything about it that stood out. And finally, Divine Rivals. This is actually probably going to be on my best list this year. This is so good. It is about a girl who, when she types up letters to her brother on her typewriter, they inadvertently go to the person with the typewriter's twin, who happens to be her rival at work at the newspaper. So she's falling in love with this person she's writing to, who she initially didn't know was getting her letters that were meant for her brother. And then meanwhile, she hates this guy at work and doesn't know that he's the same person. And he knows it's her because he recognized her writing style and everything right off the bat, but like she has no idea that it's him. And then she ends up going to be a reporter in a war zone and all this stuff. And she takes the typewriter with her and is still writing letters to the person, the mysterious person who she doesn't know who it is, the whole way through. I really loved it. And this was another case of, you know, I was listening to this on audio and I was sad that I didn't have this in another format and couldn't get it in another format because I wanted to just read it faster. And I can only read it so fast on an audiobook. So this was that definitely means a book is good when I basically regret having only checked out the audiobook. So anyway, so that was really good. So those are the books that I read in the first half of November. Let me know if you've read any of these and have any thoughts on them, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye.